Dynamite download.
Dynamite download, your home for all positive coverage with all elite wrestling.
You guys, positive energy.
This reality, like, it is me. Like,
Who let this guy in here?
This is what pro wrestling's supposed to feel like.
I'm saying I have a better record than Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe, and now I'm going to have to wrestle them.
I've never seen someone able to break down, like, wrestling like he does.
I said, Mariah May. She said, who?
Because I'm so driven, and I'm so moved to like what I want to do.
Versus Brian Keith match.
it's awesome.
That's so cool. You got like these creepy ass dudes.
Oldest ride, longest line.
I was like deep diving into like cults.
My real story does connect with a lot of people.
I never say never about anything.
Yeah.
Back to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
That is right. What is up, everybody? It is your guys, SPD and Mindrunner, episode 140 on the road to All In. I can't believe it, man. I can't believe we're already here. This is the week of All In, and this is quite a way to kick things off last night and what we're going to be leading into Collision before All In. But wow, I'm pumped. I am pumped for this card.
Crikey dingo, indeed. This is going to be incredible. I mean, this really truly is becoming the AEW's WrestleMania. It has.
And it's okay to compare that. I mean, that has been the staple and the benchmark of wrestling anywhere in the world. So to say that, I mean, as the latest reports have been showing, 50,000 strong already booked for this Sunday over here in the U.S. across the pond over here, a 1 p.m. start in London. So we're looking at this poster. A couple of people that stand out, I'm looking at John Moxley right there, really standing out. It's Samoa Joe not on the card, but front and center is Okada, and he's not on the card right now, which is kind of interesting. But before we dive into all that, All In, we're going to be doing our All In preview show live Saturday post Collision. So literally hot off the press, Mindrunner and I are gonna break down the card, make our predictions, get the bingo card up and ready. And as you know, if you're following us in part of our draft, that bingo card is ever so important to get a +3 bonus points in the draft, which we can talk about the draft momentarily, where we stand leading into the final 2 weeks of season 3 Dynamite Download. Draft.
I can't believe. First of all, I can't believe how fast time has flown. With when we first made our first picks, I was thinking, man, this is going to be a long haul. And it was. I think it was a little bit longer for me, just because I was.
Don't call it a comeback.
Dax and Cash were MIA. A lot of my my prediction. I went the tag route. I'm not sure I'll do that again, because it's kind of like it's feast or famine with tag teams. I've noticed you could either double up when they get a win, but then if they're not the tag, if there's a rare chance they get a singles chance, plus Brian taking my Orange Cassidy good luck charge. But it's been quite a run, and don't call it a comeback. Been here for years. The Mr. Midrunner, not so much. I am. And I actually have some bad news for some people, but should we get to the current rankings?
Let's do it. We're diving in. Let's dive right in.
And
oh my goodness.
Goodness,
I shifted to column on the right, man. I thought I was like, man, I think over the last few weeks I've gotten like 3 points over the last month. I've been like so stagnant, and it's been such a bummer. And a couple draws and a couple things there. It's like, oh gosh, man. I'm not ready to wave the white flag right now, but I'm excited to see how that race at the top is going to end out with Brian and FTD. We're gonna have. I mean, at this pace, we're definitely gonna have a new champ here. We're gonna have a first time champ. I don't know. I think it's they're in the uncatchable moments when we have 2.5 weeks left of this draft. Even though we have 10 matches.
Well, you think about it. You're going to get 3 points for winning the all-in bingo card. You get 3 points for winning the all-out bingo card. So there's 6 points right there.
True.
Plus, if any of your guys, and again, part of these results was we had a time limit. We had a time limit draw last night that could have given somebody some points. So whoever has Okada. Or
Me.
whoever has, Claudio. But I love how close it is for the most part. There's like FTD, Full Tilt Deb is 3 points behind Brian.
Yeah, she's scratching and clawing her way to the top. And Brian had quite the lead for such a long time. And we're seeing a little bit of that honeymoon phase kind of wear out. Well, so we'll see how this really ends up.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something we've seen before. I mean, there's been a lot of us that have been had good starts, and then all of a sudden things happen, fizzle out. But I'm also wondering if we might see some returning faces this weekend.
Hey, you never know.
Cash in. Big news, of course, that I'm happy with, because on Team Mine Runner we also have. I don't know if he's going to debut in time for me to get any points, but they announced that signing a multi-year contract is Mr. Rico Suave himself, Ricochet, and he's on my roster here. So I don't know if he's going to.
Is that official on AEW or just all the rumors?
That's the rumor mill. But again, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
Oh, for sure.
You gotta believe it. I mean, that worked so great for me with the Motor City Machine Guns last season.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, so I don't know if hot off the press that we are getting a Rampage tomorrow night. You got the Conglomeration versus Brian Cage, Johnny TV, and the Beast Mortis. We have I'm looking up because I was seeing if there's an official graphic. You have the Von Erichs versus the Outrunners.
Oh, that's
Roderick Strong versus Fuego del Sol.
Whoa.
We have Robin Renegade versus Mina Shirakawa.
Oh, very nice.
We got the Iron Savages versus the Gates of Agony. So that's a pretty decent. That's a pretty decent Rampage card. I wasn't expecting all that. So this draft, man, yeah. So as we are going to be the road to All Out, that is the final finale of our season 3 draft, which is pretty exciting stuff. But as we talk about All In, a lot of points are at stake there, which we'll really dive into the card on our preview show.
Yeah.
But you're looking at this right here. So right off the bat, I see myself only having 1, 2, 3, 4 possible points, five, 6 possible points. So I'm not feeling too hot about that myself. How many possible points are you looking at?
Well, Full Tilt Deb was taking a look at this. She's got she says she's guaranteed a point with the coffin match between, because she has both Jack Perry and Darby.
True.
I said, of course, what if it's a draw? But in a coffin match, there really isn't a possibility of a draw. I did hear rumors that I'll reveal. I have a scoop for everybody that I'll reveal on our Saturday show about the Darby Jack Perry match, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I got a bold take on that too. Yeah, we might be in the same page, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I don't, although he's our scumbag, I'm not sure they're gonna have MJF drop the title to Will Ospreay unless you're gonna move Ospreay onto the bigger title picture again, but I don't see MJF giving me any points for his Ospreay, but I do see possibly FTR giving me some points, or the Acclaimed.
I know you got a 2/3 chance there.
I have a 2/3. I have a 60%. I have 60% chance to have 100% chance of victory, and that gives me a 33% chance of not winning. So then you take 60% plus 100%, it's 160%. So I'm guaranteed to win some 2 points in that match. That's some
Exactly.
mind runner math for you.
Lots at stake there. And, I don't want to, spoil our preview show for Saturday night, but still some things could change in typical AEW fashion. But let's focus on what we got last night. Pretty much the go-home show, even though there's still Collision and Dynamite ahead of it. But Dynamite last night in Over the Pond was fantastic. I think this
Cardiff,
was
England. Cardiff, England, right? Not Cardiff, Wales, Cardiff, England.
Yeah,
right,
in typical
guys?
Jericho fashion. Fantastic. But man, this they've been doing some really great stuff with the build to All In, and I think this was just another one of those shows that really hammered it home and nailed it on the head. I think this was such a great show, top to bottom. It even furthered storylines than not necessarily that we needed it, but it got me so pumped up for so many different matches. I sent you that movie graphic of last year's All In card. To me, this year's is leaps and bounds better. Leaps and bounds better. And I got so pumped with just that trios match that was the last match of the night, setting up 2 matches right there. The face-to-face with Ospreay and MJF, which I want to talk about first momentarily. The build with DMD and Mercedes, like everything. And then, of course, the Danielson Swerve. Like, there are so many marquee matches. I don't know how you're gonna book this card, because it's gonna be tough. A lot of tough to follow matches because of the feuds that are coming to culmination.
The last 2 Dynamites, and arguably Collision as well, but I would say the last 2 Dynamites have felt like go home, like a combined go home show, but
for
like
sure,
in 2 parts, like not in 2 parts where it was negative, actually almost like a synergy, because everything, there's been so much building up for this. It's been great. Of course, the crowd in Wales was phenomenal.
Right.
The crowd in Norfolk, Virginia was awesome, especially in that one little section in the corner. They were loud idiots. They were really
loud marks.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. They were a bunch of marks. But I love that the build up that they've done for this, the character work. I still hear some of the haters, or I read some of the haters saying AEW doesn't really do storylines. I'm like, it's got storylines coming out of its ass. There's so much going on with this stuff. The stuff with Hangman. I mean, that little promo where he knocked over Evil Uno. There's just his obsession with Swerve. There's so much going on, but the promo battle between America's champion and the kid from the
Billy Goat,
the Billy Goat. I was blown away. This was a masterpiece, in my opinion.
As I was watching this unfold, I'm like, this is build and heel babyface 101. The way the crowd was reacting, the way the guys were letting each other talk and have their moments. And I just loved watching Ospreay's face the whole time. We didn't get this in your face, ruthless MJF, but he was just smooth and cool and just, on defense. And I think felt like he was on defense, but the way this started and ended, I mean, it was just 20 minutes of pure cinematic build 101, true professionals. This felt like the main event build, in my opinion. And this feud is so main event worthy. But then you look at what's the main event and you're like, okay, that's even better. Like the way that they're building this feud in such a main event quality, and then to top it even more, which it's been topped and being topped with Swerve and Danielson, is really incredible stuff, because this could be like a co-main event in sense. I could say that with that, but then I can circle back and be like, Mercedes and DMD could be a co-main event. The triple threat of the tag team titles could be a co-main event, looking in the quality. And so it's just like the depth of this show at All In, I think is the best, one of the best cards we've seen in a long time. But this face-to-face, gosh, man, it was just like you could rewatch this in the way it all panned out all the way to the end. When he was asking the fine, I thought that was really hilarious. And he's like debating, and then boom, worth it. And then just the way it ended with in Ospreay in a bloody mess. But then later in the show, when Danielson approached him.
Yes.
And it kind of gave him the graces, and kind of is like, you need to dig that deep to do it, to finish the job. What did you make of this face-to-face?
Oh, I thought it was boring and terrible. Of course I loved it. Of course. And you said something earlier that I think is exactly spot on. I mean, it happens a lot on this show with you, but the you mentioned it's face heel promo battle 101, but it's taken to 11. It's like you don't have to overdo it. You don't have to overdo something if it's already there. And you just know, but just hearing MJF and Ospreay, it's going to be a good promo battle, especially that's in Cardiff, England. But the fact, like I remember watching, because the whole, Ospreay's chewing up about 5-6 minutes before MJF says a word, and he's chewing this up, and everybody's behind him, and they're cheering him, and he's got the crowd behind him, and they're doing Ospreay, and then everybody stops, and then MJF starts, and you just knew, like, okay, now here comes the other gun. Here's this side now, and MJF cuts it perfectly. One of the cool, and the storytelling, of course, we talked about, Bryan Danielson giving him the blessing to do the Tiger Driver, and that kind of that sparked that look on his face. But the one thing I thought that was really genius, among this awesome battle. And as you guys think we're just being Pollyanna about this, you got to go watch this promo. It was fantastic. It's the moment when there was a little bit of a glimmer where MJF let the wall down a little bit, and he said, because Ospreay was saying, why are you mad? And he goes, it's because they love you, it's because you came in and ruined it. And then he steadied himself and he got back. But I felt like that was cinema. That was a little bit of MJF tipping his hand and showing behind the mask, like why telling the story that they loved him, but then Ospreay showed up, and now they love Ospreay.
The jealousy.
So MJF is bitter about that, and that's
jealousy in full effect.
Yep, I think that was such a subtle. It was just that little spot, but it was such a subtle twist in taking this story up to the next level, and it's been brilliant. I love both of these wrestlers. I mean, I love MJF because he is such a great heel. He's such a great, I don't want to say catalyst, but like any feud he's going to be in, he's going to make it where you can have him feud with Marco Stunt. And of course, Marco Stunt's the GOAT, but you can have him feud with anybody and he's going to take it to the next level.
I think that's where you have like such an underappreciated value in MJF, where he can throw those little nuances in his promos unexpectedly to give us a swerve, no pun intended, like that, where he was, essentially jealous about it. And we've said it time and time again, man, he does not miss a beat. This guy is just incredible at what he does. And I love this quick version we're getting of him, of Captain America MJF, which it's hard to boo, but it's a perfect time and place to boo it when you're overseas and you're not in America. So I still stand by my hot take that I think the way this is going to pan out is give Ospreay that moment, which could possibly be, behind the scenes, like part of his signing with AEW is like, I want to have my Wembley moment, again, per se. But give him that moment. MJF, costs him the title again at All Out versus Pac, because Pac's got a match at All Out versus whoever wins this one. And then you run it back in Long Island, and then you'll see where that goes from there. So I don't know, Daniel. So that's an interesting point, BR. If Garcia does cost him the match, maybe Garcia prevents MJF from using the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And then that allows Ospreay to get the win with the Tiger Driver. So that could be a way, not necessarily costing him in this match, but preventing him from cheating to a win like he did in the first place. I think that would be a huge moment as well. And then you could run MJF versus Garcia at All Out. And then you can run Pac versus Ospreay at All Out. And that's two great matches right there. Book
I
it.
like
Book
I
it.
like I like what you said there about it's not going to be like Daniel Garcia is not going to cost MJF the match, but he's going to keep him from cheating to win. Like
Right.
he's gonna like when the Dynamite Diamond ring comes out, he's gonna stop it. He's gonna prevent
Right.
it and keep it a fair fight. And that in itself is going to be what allows Ospreay to have the victory moment. You know, there was a little bit of time where I was actually thinking, you know, because most people are expecting Ospreay to win because it's, you know, it's home turf, that they're going to do it, that MJF's going to somehow retain, you know, because just to kind of throw everybody off. But honestly, I think that's the move is to give Ospreay that. I mean, the pop that he had in Cardiff, Wales was deafening. You know, they're ready for that moment. But again, one of the dilemmas when you have so many good top tier talent, it's hard. There can be only one world champion,
right?
You know, so you know that's why I kind of give them a little bit of slack with the whole mess about having different belts. But I almost think, you know, MJF, what's next for him if he loses, and what's next for Ospreay? You know, obviously Ospreay is going to have to defend that belt, and he can take it around. He'd be a great ambassador to defend it, not just a home turf AEW, but defend it all around the world. But then again, you've got, you know, what's next for MJF? Does he go on a hiatus again, or does he?
No, he's an instant feud with Garcia. He's instant feud, you know, with maybe he tries to get back in the world title picture. See, that's why I would like to see him cost Ospreay that match, extend this feud, because I think this is a really good feud, and then let Ospreay shift his focus into the world title picture eventually. But there's still meat on the bones with the Garcia incident when he does return, because he did did him so wrong. So you have a feud instantly with that. But you know, I was thinking the same thing when MJF returned after the Roosh match. It's like, where do you go from here? And to get thrown into this Ospreay mix right away was not something I saw. And it's actually turning into like really, you know, gold. And so, you know, as Crayfish has said many times, you know, MJF is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. And so we don't know. We can predict and we could say all that, but he's going to be featured. And I think he was spitting a lot of truth with some of those lines about, you know, Warner Brothers and other people wanting him to be the face because of how controversial he is and how, you know, I think much of an ambassador he was being. One thing before we shift to the next topic is the graphics that they are doing in AEW for the build to All In are incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. And I love how they're just sprinkling them out with all these different talents. I mean, this one with Ospreay looking at, you know, essentially like a Berlin Wall of, you know, MJF kind of rubbing in the USA stuff and part of his title reign. But I think I got another one of maybe Jack Perry, but there's Darby Allin one that I've seen. It's really great stuff. Like, got to tip our cap to the graphics team because they have been spot on, and I love how they change up special episodes. They do different color schemes and things like that. So it's been really great build. I mean, these would be cool posters if they were to like sell them at the stadiums or whatever it may be. But I think that was the only one I got.
But still, yeah. I love it, and it's a throw to also the way that MJF has been steering into this Americana kind of thing. You know, he's staring like all the bad parts of how foreigners may see America. You know, and like he's playing up that character where and you know the duality of that. I love that, and that picture right there, that graphic. Is great because it's got all this MJF propaganda, and you've got the local bruv right there. That's just, you know, that's fantastic. It's a great graphic. They're killing it. And I wonder how much of that is Mel Coleman, you know, doing her art, because I know she's actually in London, I think this weekend. She's going to be at the show.
Nice.
So I don't know if Don Callis, if they're commissioning her to do some more art, but yeah, that's tremendous.
What did you make of this face-to-face? So we had 3 huge face-to-face moments and Dynamite. And how do you think this one turned out?
Okay. I feel like okay. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm not saying I didn't like it, because I think Mercedes looked better in this. And
Okay.
I did like I liked we actually called it watching it like right before she did it, because she said, I know I can't attack you, but
Right.
this bitch is getting on my nerves, and she suckers Camille. I hate to agree with Bully Ray. And not that he's not, Bully Ray has a lot of insights, but on Busted Open, he made a comment. He was going on a rant about this, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but I kind of saw what he was talking about with this. Camille Brickhouse needs to be a Brickhouse, and it's kind of like, I think it would have been a little bit more of a cool moment if Britt attacked Camille and Camille no-sold it and put Britt through the table. And here's
like
why,
Connor,
because what a lot of people were doing, where they were starting, nobody was chanting, but you could see people looking up the ramp, like who's going to come, and then nobody shows up. If you're going to bring Jamie Hayter back at All In, this would have been a great time to really tease it. But if you're going to have an enforcer character, especially someone as big and stacked like Camille Brickhouse, she needs to be a badass. She needs to be Diesel to Mercedes's Shawn Michaels. She needs to be, and I think the story would be better if Britt felt like, if Britt felt like she, or the story was Britt is the underdog because of Camille. Like that, if it was a fair fight, Britt is going to take down Mercedes, but because of Camille, the Camille factor, Britt's a little bit nervous. But again, you don't have to say Jamie Hayter. People are already the fans are making that connection. And then, so at All In, Jamie Hayter shows up to balance out Camille, and you've got your all-out tag team feud later on. I felt like that's how it should have played out. I think Mercedes did great. And I'm not saying Britt sucked. I'm saying it was good, but I felt like there was a missed that they haven't. Britt just came back from all these injuries, and she's acting like she's been, she never left. And there needs to be a little bit of an underdog doubt there, I think. And I felt like this was missing that. I kind of felt like Britt needs to be more intimidated by Camille than she was.
I still think we're getting that underdog feel because she's been getting beat down, every other week by the Brickhouse and the Power 2-on-1. And so I feel like, yes, there could have been that stretched a little bit more, but I think it was the crowd really amplified and leaned into this feud a lot during this segment, in my opinion, with the different chants and the shut the F up, like Mercedes' face and the way she handled that was really great. I love that part. But the fact that Britt is the underdog in this feud at the moment, and I feel like that would have been really cool for us fans to have, let's just say, one of maybe Hayter's like quotes, or just kind of like maybe just emphasizing being like, they used to hate you or whatever, like just like kind of like give us these little like Easter eggs. But regardless, the pop's going to be just astronomical when she does return, because I stand by like what I said before, the way you book it, Mercedes winning, not to spoil my bingo card or anything, DMD just getting beat down, and then it's like no hope, and she's just like almost like gasping for the rope, for help, begging for help. Then boom, Hayter's music hits. It's just gonna be like an epic thing. But what if she hits, saves, comes out, and then turns on the DMD? Hayter and Camille and Mercedes. That wouldn't happen, but
Why not? I like that.
Of course,
that
you
actually
do. You're more
sounds
team
pretty
heel.
cool. There's a faction for you.
Well, then you have like two of the biggest, toughest hitters side by side on Mercedes, and then what do you do? But I think there's so much meat on the bones of that tag team that they're pairing up, and then this feud still's got so much life left in it. But I can't wait. I'm pumped. I think. How do you think if you're the booker, what first two matches open the show?
MJF and Ospreay
starts the show.
Yep, because you're gonna have you want to get the crowd pumped, and you start with Ospreay coming out because, like, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at All In, blah 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 blah, yay! After all the 0 hour crap with RJ City and them, then all of a sudden you have dun 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 dun, dun and the crowd just Ospreay.
And then it gets
and you end with Swerve and Danielson.
And then, like you said, the Apollo Creed entrance, or no, what was the entrance that he's going to do?
Yeah, living in America. He even left with MJF left with the Stars and Stripes Forever instrumental when he left. So
I hope he does something ridiculous like that, or when he gets out there, he's like, "We need to all rise and stand for the national anthem." Does like something like ridiculous like that, even over the top. But you think Ospreay? So, who would you book after that match?
After, you mean for All Out for that thing?
No, for All In. Like if you're booking the card, first two matches of the night.
Well, before we do that, I want to share this real quick. This is what I think. This is how I think MJF should come out looking like. This. I think this should be.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
I think that's the gimmick right there. I think, but anyways,
yes, just so over the top and ridiculous.
I think after that you go. I think after that you do the trios, the 4 trios.
The ladders match, okay.
Yeah, then you
London
do
ladder match.
Then you do the you do the 4 trios. Jericho Hook. Then you do the Brit and Mercedes comes after MJF Ospreay. Then you do the trios. Then you do the Casino Gauntlet match. Then
I would
Darby.
do last 3. So last 3 matches, obviously, All In or the main event.
Yep.
Second to last, the trios, or not the trios, the tag team. Third from last, Mercedes DMD.
No, I think third from last is Tony Storm, Mariah May.
You think that's a bigger moment?
Well, it should be because it's the world title.
Yeah.
Versus the TBS title. I think they need to the world title needs to have some more prestige. You know what I mean? Like the TBS title needs to be around the same time as the TNT title.
Regardless, give me all the matches and all of them. What did you think of? So this is a very interesting topic or match. Like this match killed it. Fantastic match. I wanted so much more of this. What was your take on it?
First of all, this is another one of those matches where it rewards the returning fans of AEW. And also, if you're saying that there's no storylines in AEW, you're not paying attention. There has been a consistent storyline with Claudio.
Yeah.
And this Continental title. And he missed the last Continental thing, and this was a draw. They're playing a lot of, Claudio's getting frustrated. And I don't know if they're planning on him to leave BCC or what's going to happen, but exactly. Here with Danielson, with Okada. I feel like there's a Claudio story here that's continuing. And it's going to play out. And I think I don't know if they haven't found the right outlet for him to finally unleash this story on. It might end up being Moxley or Bryan Danielson that he turns on. But there's definitely a story. We're definitely getting a long-term, Claudio finally winning the big one.
Right.
I wouldn't be mad if sometime in 2025 we get Claudio versus the current champion. Like, put him against like Swerve or whoever's got the belt. I mean, just whether he wins or not, but that being a match that, you may not necessarily book it for like a Revolution or Double or Nothing, but like one of the other, slightly smaller pay-per-views have you could build Claudio that this is it. This is his chance. Is he going to blow it?
I mean, this match was so good and so we got just a taste of it. I mean, 20 minutes is so short when you're looking at some of these other title matches that we've seen. But I think this belt would be perfect for him, given his style and his, being an international guy himself. So I think I would hope he gets a rematch for this because of time limit draw and get the ultimate payoff. Okada hasn't been defending the title as much as I really honestly expected him to, but I think Claudio, man, this guy has shown so much growth over the last 6 months to a year, and it's been awesome to see his rise in AEW. His offense is just like unmatched and just so incredible and fun to watch, and the crowd loves him. So I think that, good things are going to be coming his way very soon in terms of in the win column and gold column. And I'm excited where this is going to go. Hopefully a rematch. What do you think? What's going to happen to Okada? Is he going to be in the gauntlet match? Do you think a match is going to be thrown together for him for All In? What's your take on the direction of Okada now?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they haven't already booked. I mean, I know they just had this match, but I think there needs to be Okada needs to defend the title. I think there needs to be
only
that,
right.
And I think that needs to be added to the card. We may find out on Saturday evening, or they're going to wait and let it happen for all out. But I don't know.
Sorry, wrong one.
It's all good. You just got tired of me yapping.
No. Mute. Just kidding.
Mute. I do think though that I like this title fits Okada perfectly right now. The whole thank you guys. That in the dry humor. Yeah. That was a great spot too. I'm surprised they don't have a spot for this for Okada, and
it's such a big signing, and it's such an important signing to many in AEW and the wrestling world. It is kind of shocking. I mean, yes, you can't put everybody on the card, but what would be why would he be in the gauntlet match? Like, that doesn't really make sense at the moment, given he already has a title right now.
Yeah. So if I can do a 2-minute rant real quick.
Sure.
This is a problem that I have, and especially with Mark Briscoe Mark Briscoe's the Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yeah.
He's the world champion for Ring of Honor. If Ring of Honor was a standalone show, he's their champion. He's their Swerve. Right. He's their guy. And yet as much as I love the conglomeration, I love that. I don't want that to go away.
Right.
But it's the way that some of these belts are treated, like almost like throwaways. If you're a belt holder, you need to act like that belt is the crown. Like that belt is that you need to make it feel like it is one of the most important things. And that's why I don't think anybody that currently holds a title should also be in that gauntlet match, because it just really makes it's kind of like, when you're a trios champion, but you also have this belt, or you're the TNT champion, but you're in a match against the only time that works is if it's a title for title, like way back when it was Hogan versus Warrior, or it was, those title for title matches or unification match or something. I feel like it takes away from the belt, from one of the belts. And I think that's a bad move, especially when you can fit it. If you're going to have your current Ring of Honor champion face a champion of another belt,
right?
Have something where he loses the Ring of Honor belt and give that to somebody else, because you can have an entirely different feud going on with that. You don't need to do that. It was kind of like when, it's similar to when they had when Samoa Joe wrestled Keith Lee, beat him, and then dropped the Ring of Honor TV title like it was nothing. I mean, that to me, that's you could have done that a much better way. And I mean, this should have been just a 2-minute rant, but I don't see Okada going. I think it would be a crime to have Okada or Mark Briscoe or anybody in the gauntlet match, because that just it diminishes their current title.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be more meaningful and, as fans, more exciting to have title lists in like future matches and feuds at stake there. You know, that Casino Gauntlet match, it's going to be interesting to talk to you Saturday about it, is like who's officially been announced in it and who would you want in it, whether it be a versus a Swerve or whether it be versus a Danielson champion. So that's a whole different perspective too. Like obviously, like you'd want Hangman to win because he's been awesome and aggressive and really fun to watch lately, but only if Swerve's champion, even though Hangman and Danielson have had some good matches. So it's interesting. You want Evil Uno to win, to go one-on-one with Danielson. We'll see, you know, so
I do. Marco Stunt. It's going to be the comeback.
You
of
and Marco, man. You and your Marco stunts.
I'm telling you, don't sleep on Marco.
The trios match of the night last night. This was like essentially kind of like a MVP, or let's just say like top guys match overall, no pun intended to FTR. But I thought this was fantastic. I thought this was, the Young Bucks were so fun to watch, and the Young Bucks were just so like over the top cheesy. They're about to grab their belts and leave. Their facial reactions when Acclaimed was on the mic after the match.
Yep.
And just looking at this, like these guys, these 6 need to be featured more and more and more in AEW to really be the backbone and carry AEW to the next level, in my opinion. And they have been, but I selfishly want more of them on screen. So it's just, I've come around so much to Darby Allin over the last 6 months. For a while, I was kind of like, just, man, too much. You don't need to be jumping off a ladder through a pane of glass and things like that. And in this, for Darby, it's tamed. This tamed down version is still a reckless version, but it's a lot of fun to watch. And I think I'm, becoming much more and more a fan of the Pink Fleece Darby version that we're seeing as of late.
Yeah, that Pink Fleece, I don't know if that is, maybe tell us in the chat if that is a reference to Dave LaGreca at Busted Open, because he was wearing like a pink robe or something. But you're starting to see like kids in the audience, the Darby Files, they're wearing the pink thing now too. And I guess his newest figure is going to have the pink jacket on it. So I think that's pretty cool. Couple things, kind of like how you with Darby. I heard Full Tilt Deb say something last night that kind of surprised me, but I understand. She admitted last night, she said, all right, FTR pretty awesome. And this is coming
just
from,
now, finally.
She used to put FTR up there with Bryan Danielson. You know how she feels about Bryan Danielson. She's up there. She and Nigel McGuinness have the same opinion of Bryan Danielson. But no, she admitted last night. And I mean, I was loving the whole thing. I am so grateful for the dinosaur that died to create the fossil fuel that was put in and turned into gasoline to fuel Luke Perry's pregnant wife, to get her to the hospital, to deliver Jack Perry, and to deliver the people that have written Jack Perry's character the way they have. Because talk about taking arguably the least believable badass of the 4 pillars from a little over a year ago and turning him into this character. He's such a like he's all, I don't want to say he's Moxley, but he's really they've given him a believable edge, and they've they've allowed Matt to kind of take some of the heat off that, where it was Matt that called for the forfeit at the Blood and Guts, and he was ready, whereas Jack Perry's ready to be toasted. I think they're doing a great job building up Jack Perry is a great heel, a believable heel, and the build up for all of this has been great. You got 6 of the best in AEW right there. and it's fantastic. And the only other thing I was going to say about the Acclaimed is they're pulling back on the goofiness of the Acclaimed. Not that it's not still going to be there, and I'm sure we'll get a rap from Max at All In, but they're really pulling back and showcasing the Acclaimed as a more legit threat, and they're putting them in that contention. And I think a lot of that it's by design. Is that I've always felt Anthony Bowens is awesome, and I'd love to see him do a singles career. I think he's believable as the athlete, but I think there has been some arguably legit criticism over Max Caster to not taking it as seriously.
Right.
But with Blood and Guts over the last couple of months, we've seen a Max Caster that has really stepped up to help the Acclaimed as a team be taken seriously. So I felt like everything with this whole thing was a great way to end the show and go home. Fantastic.
Jack Perry, every single week, he's growing more and more and more. And I think a lot of people are starting to look in my eyes. What do you see?
Yeah.
The cult of personality of this guy right here. I think we're starting to see all that personality and that side of him. I think, he's changed up his in-ring a little bit too. You're not seeing that old springboard off the top flippy Husker Du thing that he used to do so much in Jurassic Express. You're getting more ground and pound offense.
Yeah.
If he packed on another 15 pounds, which is not easy, I say that like it's easy, he'd be even more so. But the fact, like everything that we're getting out of him, it's really fun to watch the growth and to see where he's at now. And I don't want him to lose this match. I think it would be very interesting for Darby to lose a coffin match, which he's undefeated in. But I think, especially what we saw with Jack Perry, what he did with the TNT title last, on his social media, which was great, revamping the TNT title and, forging it himself and creating it himself, doing all that was really impressive stuff. Loved it. And I like that new version of it. And so Darby to be a new, this might be his third reign of TNT championships, potentially second or third. It would be fun because we're getting a lot of steam in Darby right now. But I think I was shocked that this match was announced because of what's at stake at All In with the tag titles and the TNT championship match, a coffin match that's now announced. So it's like what you said, the Acclaimed, they've been on fire the last few weeks on screen and on social with their backstage stuff. And I don't know what's going to happen with them, but they've really turned me into believers of them potentially getting another tag team title run. Early on, I was like, okay, this is a two-dog fight right now, FTR and Young Bucks. But the way the Acclaimed have really grown and have built this moment to get to All In, I'm sold. I think they did a fantastic job of upselling themselves, kind of changing their attitude a little bit, nut up or shut up and a lot of things. So this three-way match has me more excited than ever, especially after last night's Dynamite. The last few weeks, it really got me excited, but I think this three-way tag match is probably in my top three matches I'm most excited to see. I would have to say, it's hard to say that, but it's like the three-way tag main event, Danielson, Ospreay, MJF. And you could say this about any three matches on the card. But those are my top three at the moment because of the excitement level that I have personally.
Think about what it does for Jack Perry. You said this earlier. Think about what it does for Jack Perry to beat Darby Allin in a coffin match.
Yeah, if they're really going to continue to push him and really elevate him, he needs to win that match.
You know who I would like to see next for Jack Perry?
Who?
Moxley.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
You talk about gatekeepers.
The current Jack Perry that he is now, plus he's got that in New Japan experience. can you imagine Jack Perry talking some smack and then just Moxley just coming out and just going, oh, who do you think you are?
Speaking of, that could be a interesting thing if Okada does an open challenge.
Sign me up. Take my money.
I mean, that's a match that you need to build, though, in my opinion. That would just be like the craziest thing to give us that with no build.
Well,
but eventually that could happen.
Claudio, Claudio could be kind of that stepping stone for Moxley. Have Claudio come out, challenge him one more time.
Right.
And say, maybe at All Out, have Claudio come out and say, listen, I want I want a last man standing match, some gimmick match where the timer doesn't run out. And then Okada, of course, the Bucks come down, Young Bucks, and Okada try to, there's some shenanigans. And then, of course, Moxley comes out, and then it's Moxley going after Okada. I don't know. There's so many cool stuff. And then, of course, we're going to talk a lot on Saturday about our predictions for All In. I think there are going to be some surprises that I think you and I had talked about offline, but yeah.
Almost so June 30th at Forbidden Door was the last time we saw Moxley. Much needed and deserved time off.
Yep.
Interesting. He's not going to be at All In that we know of as of yet. But so June 30th, All In will essentially be almost a full 2 months off. All Out will give him that a little extra time. It's definitely needed for sure. Someone that goes as hard as he does every single week in every single match that he does. The face-to-face for the main event. Whose house?
Swerve's house.
And Danielson. And the Clam Digger creator himself, the Clam Digger creator, Nigel McGuinness in the ring, who actually looked pretty dang jacked, like he's in ring shape himself, which he did say, or someone did say he was clear to wrestle. It was officiating this interview. And I thought the way it started with Swerve and not bringing Danielson out and the intensity that Swerve brought was really some fire stuff. I mean, Swerve has been turning it up notches every single week. And really, when he stares in that camera and making the hair on your arms go up and kind of like, whoa, man, this guy is he's a scary guy. And he's our champion for a reason.
And the balance of Swerve and Nana, because you've got Swerve staring just death into the serious, like, this ain't a game, pal. The Omar from The Wire kind of like, he's coming, and then you've got Nana right behind him going, that's right, you're going to kick your ass. And just Nana, just with that, he's such a great, I almost said side piece. That's totally not what I wanted to say, but almost as manager, if you will. But he's such a good accessory to Swerve. One of my best moments is still when we saw it live when he gave Bryan Danielson the kick to the head, and Swerve started slowly doing this, and then right behind him, we had Nana doing the Swerve.
You blink, you miss it.
You blame it, but the nuances of this match and the evolution. I want to say evolution, but the growth, the character growth, the Swerve has methodically created this character and he's established himself as he is our world champion, but he is now in the conversation with Kenny Omega, Hangman, Danielson, Moxley. He's in that conversation now, and legitimately so. He has earned that spot. So it's like, and his promos have really gotten better. I mean, he's fantastic in the ring, but I've always felt like my favorite. I love the wrestlers. I love the flippy do stuff, the entertainment, but the wrestlers that can emote, that can tell a story in the ring with their reactions. And, Dustin's one of those guys. I know Dustin gets a lot of flack. He's old. He's weird. He's got paint and stuff. But Dustin does a great job of storytelling in the ring. You put him against anybody, even with no buildup, there'll be a story to tell, and he'll in the ring. And I think that's something that's a skill that Swerve has refined with AEW
Right.
as he's become champion, and just like his reactions to certain spots, that evil grin he gets sometimes,
Very
one of the
evil.
best spots at Blood and Guts was when they were all stapling him and he slowly started getting up laughing,
Yep.
and that was just that was such a cool spot. And I think that's the stuff that that's really great. So yeah, anyways, as you know, I know Full Tilt Deb wants Bryan Danielson buried underneath the ring, but I think that this is going to be a tremendous match. I'm not entirely sure who walks out with the belt. I'm a you know how I am I'm a Swerve mark. I pay rent in Swerve's house,
Right.
but it's going to be phenomenal. I do think it's going to be great, and it's going to be interesting to see how this works.
Very interesting. I love the fact that we're getting the yes movement back. I was such a mark for the yes movement when Daniel Bryan was doing that in WWE. And so that he's always hinted at it essentially here in AEW. And I think just recently and last night, he really went all in with it. We've seen him do a little
Really
bit,
went
but he went literally all in with that yes movement last night. No pun intended there as well, with that on Dynamite. I think it's going to be such a huge moment for this crowd. Is going to be so split. It's going to be so incredible to watch and just hear the whose house, yes, yes, whose house, yes, yes. So it's going to be back forth, back forth, back forth. But the way that Danielson stood tall in the ring, and the way that Swerve, just that snarl that he's got, and just that evil look in his eyes, and this has been built so great in my opinion. And with Danielson getting the words of encouragement from the likes of Eddie Kingston and Jeff Jarrett and others. And so I really hope that we end the night with some great confetti moments with the new AEW World Champion, Danielson. So this would make most sense because we've talked about it before, just how close he's become in his time in AEW. He's been in AEW for a few years now, and he's come up short. He hasn't held gold at all. And what better time to do it on the grandest stage of them all, to kind of give it that thank you moment from TK, thank you moment from AEW, to really have that. And I liked how Swerve helped to remind us of who he's beaten. And when he started to rattle off the names that he's taken down with during his title reign, his short title reign, might I add, is quite the list of wrestlers.
Yeah.
And each match has been no easy feat too. So he's really taking down some top guys. And if he does end up losing on Sunday, his title run was an absolute success in my opinion. And I don't think it won't be the last one.
The thing that's messing with me is the title versus career thing.
Right.
Because, of course, let's be honest, there's how many wrestlers have retired forever only to be back in a couple of years, the retirement gimmick. I mean, even Kevin Nash did that long before he went back to WWE. So so that's a thing. But I love that AEW specifically does this, where and this is smart for any wrestler, to build up their opponent. And you can still cut a promo bashing your opponent while also elevating them, because you want your opponent to be formidable. Because otherwise it's like you're treating it like it's a squash, and it's not. But I like the language that they're all using is, we want the Bryan Danielson of old. We want that killer instinct Bryan Danielson, not this, oh gosh golly, I want to go home and eat brie. Hello. I meant, eat home and snack. That's what I meant. I don't know where that came from, but thank you, Nigel. But I do think that this is that's important to do, is to build up, and I think that's something that Swerve has done a great job. Is really, he's reminded everybody of all the legends that Swerve, that now Swerve's name is among, but also that, hey, I want that. And Danielson is now pissed off enough that we're going to get that Danielson that's at All In. And this is going to be that crowning match between the two of them, and it's gonna be a memorable moment. It's gonna be worthy of the main event. Who walks out champion? I probably won't decide who I'm picking until we get the card on. I know I'll know who I'm going with on Saturday.
Right.
But not right now. I don't know.
Excuse me.
Lashes.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. I'm looking at the All In card. There was, I've been thinking about it the last few days because, I want to do my best to try to get, maybe regain a few points here with the bingo card. But there's a few, without spoiling it or anything, that I'm like, okay, I'm a lock. And then there's a few that I keep going back and forth with. So, and rightfully so. This is there's are very few locks in my opinion.
Yeah.
And sometimes in pay-per-views, you'll be like, okay, that's a guarantee, that's predictable. But I feel like there's a very few locks, and this could be potentially for really reshaping the landscape of AEW so soon. But I'm excited.
I can only, there's one match, I'll reveal it Saturday night. There's only one match where I can tell you who's not winning.
Yeah.
But I can't, I don't, of the rest, it's a match. I can't tell who's gonna win, but I know one team that won't win because of where I think they're taking the story next. But
okay,
we'll talk about that Saturday. DMD going down for sure. I think so. I actually think that Mercedes retains, and then that's when we see Hayter pop in. But that I'll say. But I don't know. I don't think it's a lock. I think because you made a very good point about Britt winning and then the beatdown. So
right,
we'll see.
I could go both ways. But as we mentioned, if you join us at the beginning of the show, Saturday night, post collision, Saturday night is for fighting. We will be doing our preview show for All In. So join us. We're gonna dissect the card, go through the matches, make our predictions, and then we'll post out our bingo card, which we'll do a last call time for just as soon as the 0 hour starts. So you have time to digest and listen to us and chat with us in our preview show or at our preview show, and then make your picks. I would say probably by 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because the 0 hour starting so soon.
Does 0 hour start at noon or in 1 o'clock? Because 1 o'clock is the regular show, right?
1 o'clock is the regular show on Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. 0 hour, I don't know if we have a start time just yet, but I'm sure it's going to be 11 at the earliest, noon at the latest. So we'll see if they start adding more matches on that. But join us Saturday night after Collision for our all-in preview show, folks. So here, as Brent said, right off the press, 11 for 0 hour. So it is going to be quite the marathon of a day on Sunday. So buckle up, as we say here at AEW Dynamite Download. That being said, we're going to wrap things up. We'll see you on Saturday. Bring the popcorn, bring the cold ones, and we're going to have some fun on Saturday night because it's the biggest weekend in AEW of the year, and we're pumped for it, and we can't wait to talk about All In London on Saturday night with y'all.
Crocky dingo.